Welcome everybody, Tico Casamayor here. Welcome to the Strive 305 Queen Bee Foodie podcast. But today we have a special announcement. We are bringing you some beautiful rums. Now, Tony's going to explain all of this because it's just too much history. But what we are doing is bringing back Cuban history. Cuban history that was stolen from us Cubans, that is, stolen from us. And you're going to see it here in these beautiful rums. We mentioned before a few weeks ago the Guayabita rum. And today we are talking about, all right, Tony, tell us. We have our Santero. That's one of my favorites. And then we have our, go.
You have short memory, let me tell you. This guy really had, this guy has short, I've been telling him to recite this story for about weeks and weeks. And he said, yeah, I just forgot. So I don't know how this is going to work out. Like,
oh, that's why we have him.
Listen, there's vitamins in the stores that you can take for that. Right? Anyway, we have Dunia here, Queen Bee, which actually is our image, our brand representatives, who's actually going to be teaching some of the classes in the future in Total Wine about the history of the rums and cocktails you can actually make with this rum. So I want to go real quick. Santero is not only the significance that it has for the Cuban community and religion of Cuba. Actually, Santero was born in Cuba. Not as the name of Santero, but was born as something called tafia. It was an original spirit created by the slaves in Cuba, used for religious purposes. Also used to be used to feed the people in jail in Cuba. And if you go online, you do some research and say, interesting, it was very horrible, very hard to drink until 1862 when the Bacardi family created the process of creating better quality rums in Cuba and created the history of rum that we know today is because of them. Cuba as a rum company, as an institution of rum because of the family of Bacardi. They really are the creator of Cuban history of when it comes down to everything that we do. And our goal is to bring a little bit of some of the history that was stolen by the Cuban government and some of the brands that originally were part of the Cuban culture that they're no longer part of the Cuban culture because they're not allowed to be sold in the United States because Cuba took those brands without compensating those families in 1959, kicking those families out of Cuba, taking the business away from those people that worked hard for hundreds of years in Cuba to build a family, to build a business. And now I have the opportunity to take over these brands in the United States and other countries and bring that culture back, bring that history back to the United States, to the Cuban community in South Florida who deserves to know what was Cuba before Castro, the brands that were in Cuba before Castro. And that's what I'm trying to do. I think one of I love brands is Santero. Not only because of the history of the rum, what it brings to the community in Miami, and also the fact that Cuba has a lot of historical congruence with the Yoruba religion, Africa religion. So if you look at the back of the bottle, has the original bottle created the logo in Cuba with the Santero, which is actually doing a consult right there. If you look at the bottle in the back, that's the original logo around Santero. And this is a 12-year-old. The interesting part with David Santero, this is a spice rum. It's actually made with the Mama Juana style, with the same concept as Mama Juana from Dominican Republic wine. Because some of the herbs used in Mama Juana are also some of the herbs used in the Santeria religion. There is a santo called Osain, que es el rey de las hierbas, the king of the flowers, the king of the mountain, the king of the jungle. So Osain basically puts the herbs together to heal the human soul. So this rum has a combination of multiple herbs that are used in the Yoruba religion to recreate that story that blends a rum with the religion and the history of herbs and flowers, the mountains that comes with this brand. The second brand is Santero 10-year, which is the first 10-year rum in the world cristalino, which means it's a 10 years aged in carbon, right? But the interesting part about this rum is not only this cristalino, but it's also finished in Brazilian oak. Brazilian oak is completely different than every other oak, like French oak.
I remember that.
But yeah, this is going to have more of a cinnamon taste, vanilla, a lot of aromatic, a lot of nose, completely different. So it's going to give you a different perspective of rum. Okay, and then you have your 12-year Santero, which is a traditional rum made with the aguardiente base from Cuba, the sugarcane juice. So it's going to give you that traditional feeling. It's going to be a little more sweeter than traditional rums because of the fact is the Santero has used a lot of honey in their religion and in their culture. So honey has become part of what Santero is, as far as it's very important for the honey, attracting positive, the sweetness of honey and the bees, attracts positive to life. So Santero, it's like a queen bee. So we have Santero, it's really, really unique rums. You have a spice rum that's aged with rum, 10-year rum, 8 years, 8 years aged rums made into a Mama Juana spice rum using the same herbs as Osain. Then you have the Cristalino, which is 10-year rum, aged and finished in Brazilian oak, which is unique. I don't think there's another rum. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think there's another rum in the world right now that's aged in Brazilian oak. And you have your traditional 12 that's going to have a honey finish, more of a different than other rums because we want to. It's simplified.
So sipping.
These could be done sipping or cocktails. Your choice.
I can't wait
Some
to use
people,
those
some people
rums.
actually do smoke with it. But you could do great cigars with this. It's fantastic with cigars, especially with the spice rums and the Cristalino, because when you smell it, you can blend the cigar history, the land of the cigar, the sleeves, the mountain, the fresh air you get with cigars, and that spirits blended together with these rums. You create a unique experience as far as blending two different items, a rum and a cigar. And then you have our baby, which is actually Arecha. It has a lot in it because Arecha brings something very unique to Ocean Cask. First is the first rum that, if you look at this, the name, each collection is by a different family. This is my family, Haber Matos. And then you have González Mancilla, which is Andres' family. We actually together designed the bottle. And the idea with the bottle design was to recreate the Cuban shield. If you look at the bottle, it has the same shape.
Yeah, you mentioned, yes.
As the Cuban shield. And the bottom of the bottle is unique because it has almost the same shape and design as the first rums of Cuba, glasses of rum that people used to drink rum in Cuba. So we wanted to create the history of the glass, bring with the chill history, you know what I'm saying? And then the idea is, and our goal in the future is to have painters and artists paint these bottles with the sculpture of Cuba, with the shield of Cuba, the flags, you know, and recreate that story that comes from the unique about Arecha. This is a very high quality rum. These barrels are hand selected, by the way. This is not your typical barrel. Each of these barrels for this rum are super hand selected with certain type of chromographic, because you know the rum have DNA, by the way. You know that, right? The rum has DNA. So each DNA will tell you the characteristics of the rum. So the more chromographics you can find in rums, the higher the DNAs, the more expression of different flavors you're gonna get. So this is a very high chromographic rum. When you do a chromograph on this rum, you're gonna see the structure is really unique. And the barrels are handpicked, by the way. Everything that we do with that is very handpicked barrels. And we go to every barrel, we taste the barrels, and we see the barrel fit the profile that we're creating for that particular rum. Okay, the blend of the rum was actually done by Andres, who is a fourth generation comes from generation rum makers, and myself. That's why you see the 12 years old are dedicated to my family, and the 18 is to his family. Okay, and by the way, this is the first rum that we know of in the world that is aged for 12 years in Cristalino. We took the technology of Mexico. Cristalino has been around for a long time, but it depends on the carbon they use. The process will give you will change the flavor of the rum, the color of the rum, or you will lose a lot of the product. So we use for this product, for the Santero and Arecha, we actually use the same concept that Mexicans have been using for the last few years, creating the tequila cristalinos. So we're able to do a cristalino rum, conserve 97% of the flavor of the original rum, and take away the color. So those people that like white rums, they can enjoy for the first time in the world an aged rum that's white. Nobody's ever done that before.
And where do we find those magnificent?
Total Wine. This is all done in Total Wine. You can find these rums in Total Wine, absolutely. And there are partners. They're going to be in Florida. They're going to be in Georgia, Tennessee, South Carolina to start this year. But we're looking for hopefully next year to expand to South America, some of these brands, also Puerto Rico, and also other states in the United States. Fantastic. You know, that's our goal, and I think this is the beginning. Our goal is not only to bring this brand, Tico, but I want to bring other brands from Cuba and recreate every story that we can, so we can give back to the community in South Florida. You know what was theirs once. By the way, everything this product, the raw material comes from Dominican Republic, but the rum is produced here in South Florida.
Fantastic!
So we all our brands, Ocean Cask commitment is to produce all our products in South Florida because we're part of the community here in Florida. We want our products to be done in Florida. We want our bottling to be done in Florida. We want everything to be part of Florida. That's who we are. We're Miami. We're a Miami company. We're a Miami community. So our goal is to produce everything locally. So we give back to our community. Our consumers are local. The largest consumer that we're going to have is going to be South Florida, the largest Cuban community. So why not give everything to the community that's helping us become a company? Fantastic. And that's our vision as a company. You know, Ocean Cask wants to be the South Florida rum company. That's what we see ourselves. That brings back Cuban history. That's what we see ourselves.
I can wait to start making the most delicious and
oh my God, you do it great. You do a white old fashioned with this. It's incredible.
But just sipping these rums, I'm sure it would be just amazing.
You don't even taste the alcohol, Tico. You think you're drinking sugarcane juice. That's the concept of it.
I love the bottles. You know.
Beautiful. Okay, everybody. So you see the passion that he has for this. You see the love and the knowledge. does he really expect me to know all this in a matter of a day? This man
I give him a week. I give him a week, more than a day.
week. This man,
Okay, a week. Okay.
this man obviously lives this passion, so it's up to us, your consumers, to try it
Absolutely.
and enjoy all your hard work and
go
the
to
love that you put
Total
behind
Wine.
this.
Absolutely. Total Wine.
Right.
Total Wine.
So I don't feel
So
guilty
support-
anymore. I'll just
By
drink.
the way, I want to thank Total Wine, especially the owners of Total Wine, Robert Schrom, Mark Harwell, because without them, I wouldn't be here today. Honestly, Total Wine is taking an opportunity and a chance and a small company in South Florida to give us an opportunity to grow with them, be part of Total Wine family. And it's very unique. I can tell you, one of the companies here in Florida that really supports local businesses is Total Wine. I can tell you right now, they're an amazing company, and they're all about supporting local brands, local entrepreneurs, local community. So I encourage everybody to go to Total Wine and support them. That's the way they support our local businesses.
Oh, that's exactly what Strive 305 is all about. The small business. It's an initiative that we have out there for the small businesses. You were included. And thank you, Total Wine, for everything you do. Thank you for Strive 305. Thank you, Miami Community News, for the opportunity to bring this to everybody and share the story and share Tony's story with
you.
everybody. And thank you, Chef Dunia, for...
Yeah, she's going to be making a lot of good cocktails in the future.
I will.
She's going to replicate the sidecar, the old fashioned,
Yes,
the Rock
yes.
Roy, those old speakeasy cocktails. They're amazing with this type of rum.
And you know, with all these
And we create
holidays
some new ones
coming,
too, eh?
with all the holidays coming,
Yeah, we're
you
gonna
know,
do this
we're
soon.
gonna have
We're gonna do
so
this
much
soon.
fun
Yeah.
recreating beautiful cocktails. I
Beautiful,
promise
beautiful.
you
Thank you, Step 205. Thank you, Graham Miller. Thank you, Mike Miller. Thank you, Karina. Thank you to the staff here. The guy behind the camera, I forgot his name all the time. But
Anthony.
There we go. The guy taking the pictures all the time.
Michael.
So, Michael, there we
Not
go.
Miller, another Michael.
No, Michael. Thank you, Michael, for being there, learning so much, and also helping us all become a better brand. And like I said, thank you. No, I don't know how to express myself today. Thank you to all. That's the better way to say it.
Thank you, everybody. We'll be back soon with our first mix,
Yes.
right?
All right, yes.
Mixologist over there?
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.